What was the thing you thought was a lie until you realized it was true? My older uncle told me when I turned 30 buy a suit because they'll have a lot of funerals to attend. I'm now late 30s and been to 5 in the past few years. Last fall I was invited to 4 funerals in the same weekend. I'd really like it if that never happened again. I thought one of my good friends killed 2 people in a hit and run. We knew he was a crazy aggressive driver. He lived a block from where the accident occurred. We knew he would have been coming home on that street at around that time. The witness description matched his vehicle, and he suddenly disappeared to Mexico 2 days after it happened. When he came back, he didn't have his vehicle. We knew somebody in our group must have tipped off the police, because when he came back a couple weeks later, he told us all about how he was questioned upon his return from Mexico. He said he went to go see his ailing grandpa, and they decided to stay a couple extra weeks so his mom could make plans for a lengthy visitation over the summer. He left his vehicle there so his mom could drive around in a safer, less Lexus-shaped car. They didn't have enough evidence to arrest him, his story checked out, and they let him go without incident. For years we thought he had gotten away with vehicular manslaughter. It was kind of the dark secret between us that we didn't bring up openly. We were all pretty certain he was guilty, and the police completely failed in thoroughly investigating him. Probably because he came from an affluent family of lawyers. Turns out we were wrong. About 10 years after the fatal hit and run, some random old guy who lived 20 miles away was arrested for DUI hit and run. His vehicle matched the description of another recent hit and run. They did some digging to see just how many hit and runs this guy had, and they found evidence that would have put him at the one we thought our friend did. He pleaded guilty, and last I checked, faced 20+ years. So I'm conflicted. Do I owe my friend an apology for simply thinking he was guilty and expressing that thought to other people who already felt the same way? Or do I just forego the apology, recognize I never brought it up to his face, and leave behind a chapter I'm sure he'd like to leave behind as well? Maybe make sure the other people who think that know the truth, but other than that I'd say leave it alone. This guy acting like he was crazy when I got to college. He was so over the top, and since I was at an artsy school, I thought it was an act. Later in the year he launched himself from a 3rd-story balcony into the dining hall. Yeah, it wasn't an act. That most actors for teenagers and children in movies and shows are much older than the people they portray. I didn't fully believe it for years after I was told. Which for me, gave me the impression that teenagers were much taller and bigger than they really were. While changing countries, I was told that I would feel a sense of homelessness, and I didn't really believe it. I've been away for college and back to my home country during summer for almost 3 years now, and I have acquired a constant feeling of being misplaced both at the country I've moved to and at my home country. It's terrible. Wherever you go, there you are. My mom told me that after high school, I'd lose some of my closest friends. They are going to move on and start turning into other people over time. I laughed that off because I thought we weren't going to be like that. We were just 7 unpopular kids with a hilarious group chat. We did so much together. Now, there's 2 of us left. I miss them. Saying I don't know makes people think you're smarter. After 20+ years of formal education, where that was simply an unacceptable answer, it's a huge adjustment to make. That's really strange. I don't know, but I'll find out is a perfectly acceptable answer in the engineering field. I truly didn't believe that bed bugs were real, just thought it was a little bedtime rhyme for kids, until my parents' house became infested. Bed bugs are true heck. If I had a genie, I'd wish for 3 extinctions. 1. Mosquitoes. 2. Bedbugs. 3. Ticks. The Mandalay Bay Shooting. My father was driving home from Los Angeles to Utah from a business trip, and I fell asleep in the vehicle. This required driving through Vegas and right past the Mandalay Bay. We were at the site of the bay as it was happening, and all of the paramedics and officers were trying to get to the scene. When I woke up, my father told me I slept through a shooting at a country concert and I was there more or less. I thought it was a poor dad joke, and sleepily replied something not so pleasant about people who enjoy country music. It was fairly awkward later on in the evening when I slowly realized that it wasn't a poor dad joke. Well, that's what they get for liking country. Oh god, my son is a psychopath. Not me, but a friend pirates until I told her pirate stories from the island I'm from. She thought I was joking and that pirates were made up Disney characters. The birthday paradox. In a random group of 23 people, the chance that 2 people share the same birthday is 50%. At 70, it is 99.9%. Still sounds like complete bulls every time. It's easier to think like this. Between 23 people there are 253 unique pairs. You only need 1 pair to have the same birthday. Peppa Pig is banned in China for gangster attitudes and an episode that when Peppa overcomes the fear of spiders. Christopher Robin was banned in China because a Winnie the Pooh meme comparing him to their president became popular. That my friend could not be trusted. It should not have taken 11 years to accept that. If everyone around you doesn't like somebody that you're close to and has good reason for their distrust, take their word for it and really rethink if the way they treat you is truly better than just being alone. That the world is running out of beach sand. Erosion is stripping all the sand from the shores into the ocean, and desert sand is too fine to replace it. It's so bad that many countries have a sand black market. Was watching one of the Planet Earth documentaries last night. Parrotfish eat coral, or some other hard reef stuff. I was tired, then they poop sand. Farm parrotfish and problem solved. I am so smart at 4 AM. Joji the musician. Is Filthy Frank the YouTuber aka the pink suit guy known for pretending to have seizures in public until he had a real seizure himself? He quit YouTube for health reasons and focused on music to become Joji. Wild. As somebody who was originally a Frank fan who then moved on to his Joji stuff in 2016, I'm usually the bringer of this mind-blowing information to my friends. It was a pretty interesting transformation. Time flies like the blink of an eye. 20 years ago I just graduated high school. 10 years ago college. Married with 2 kiddos and 1 on the way. Can't believe it's been so long but it feels like it has happened so fast. Love your best life people. We only get so much time. 1999 was only a few years ago. Or 20. WTF. Driving on an interstate is easier than regular city streets. That depends on the interstate and the city streets. Houston interstates will test your multitasking, multiple object tracking and alertness while also testing your physical and mental dexterity and stress tolerances. I thought my mom hurt me because she was mentally ill. My best friend told me she was actually abusive and we used to fight about it a lot because I thought he was wrong. I wasn't ready to see it. Anytime anyone ever said anything like that about my mom I'd get angry at them and thought they were lying, including therapists. Eventually I had to be honest with myself if I wanted to actually process my childhood trauma and move on with my life. I know my mom's mentally ill. So am I. So are tons of people who don't hurt their kids. Also I thought scurvy was fake until last year. Yo, but scurvy is crazy though. I love you. When I was deep into my eating disorder I thought my parents always said they loved me because I had to and that they were liars. I thought that by starving myself I would make them happy and that they would actually love me if I was skinnier. The truth was that they loved me from the second they knew I existed. They always loved me, but I just couldn't believe them at that time. This is so powerful and sweet. I feel that it deserves more recognition. I'd give you gold but alas I am poor, so instead I'll tell you that you are so loved by your parents and also by this complete internet stranger here. Boomerangs. Like crap, you expect me to believe that this bent stick can find its way back home? I can barely find my toothbrush sometimes. Almost all of the friends we make in school, almost all of the lovers we have in our friend group, if they exist before the age of 20, they will probably never see each other again, or will never be friends again. Sad thought though. As a 16-year-old, I choose not to believe this. That kids pick their nose and ate boogers. I always thought it was just a mean rumor kids spread about other kids. Then when I was 17 or 18 my best friend casually mentioned that she did it as a kid. Mind blown. Yep, as a kid. That's right. That someone can marry someone underage if the child gives consent and the person is the child's guardian. Frick you, unfortunate events. I would rather not know that. English being the primary language. I thought everyone in the world knew my language and was disappointed when I had to learn English. What's your native language? You are gonna regret things you do in middle school. At first I thought I wouldn't think that, but 75-85% I regret doing in middle school. The left lane is for passing only. I was never formally taught any better and assumed it was just some adage my parents like to reference. Nope. Definitely only for passing, and now I think about what an butthole I must have looked like. Looking at you people who still ride in the left lane and mess up the flow of traffic. Anti-Mormon literature. Turns out, anti-Mormon means actual documented history that puts the church in an embarrassing light. That powerful people and politicians gather in a place called the Bohemian Grove where they burn a human effigy under a giant owl statue, and other weird Masonic pagan crap. That's creepy. Most adults don't understand basic science. I used to think everyone was at the same level with knowing how the world worked, that the laws of physics and thermodynamics etc. was just the stuff everyone learned in high school science. You know, that people like flat earthers and moon conspiratorists were just being facetious but really knew enough of the basic sciences to know they were spouting bull's dart. I thought everyone knew things like how microwaves work, and only the very stupid did things like rig it to work with the door open and put their head in. Till I saw a guy light a cigarette while pumping gas and say it's no big deal. I do it all the time. The thing is, in the short time I worked at the petrol station, he wasn't the only one. It's actually an ongoing thing for workers to force people to stop doing stupid crap like that. People are dumb. NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. Saw it on South Park and thought it was a joke, then I saw them in the news. WTF. These guys were legit trying to make it acceptable. Fortunately they seem to be all but extinct. I am all for the North American Marlon Brando lookalikes yo. That I would turn into my mother, in my 20s and 30s. No way is that possible. 50s, OMG she's coming out of my mouth, like daily. The keyboard error. Press any key to continue a message. I thought it was an internet meme for years until I actually saw it myself. That community college is good. Possibly better than going straight into a 4-year university. I didn't get a single acceptance letter during my final year of high school despite the fact that I had only A's and B's. So my only option to continue my career after high school was go to community college. I was so discouraged cause I, and my classmates, had always been told that community college is for students who performed horribly in high school. But in the end, I'm glad I did go there first. I saved my parents lots of money by doing so. I was easily able to switch my major without drastically feeling like I wasted a year cause it just didn't cost that much. Worth noting that I would suddenly see people I went to high school with that had gotten accepted to 4-year universities at the community college. Me. Why are you here? Weren't you accepted at 4-year university? Them. Yeah, but I didn't like it there, so here I am. Don't be discouraged by community college. You can save lots of money just by going there first and then transferring. My father made a huge show of always putting the shiny side in on tinfoil, since as far back as I can remember. Didn't always say it, but would sometimes let me know that the shiny side bounces off the heat. I was 15 when I BBQ'd alone and was more worried about lighting the BBQ that I forgot to make sure the shiny side was in. Then a moment of enlightenment happened. That butthole had made the world's longest joke. It dawned on me it doesn't matter. Well played, old man. This is the opposite of the OP. Victim blaming after sexual assault is real. For me it was you're more likely to assaulted by someone you know than by a creep in the alleyway. A lot of activists, media, and education videos still act like this isn't true. My husband told the kids that the manufacturing towers with steam coming out were making clouds. It's the cloud factory. Daughter was 22 when she figured out there is no such thing as a cloud factory, though actually the steam makes clouds. I did a total reversal on climate change back in the 90s. But in my defense, back then they weren't really reporting very well. Most editorials regarding it were poo-pooing it rather than taking it seriously. I did not understand statistics and I did not understand how small numbers can have a huge effect on large systems. And no one on TV was really explaining it. But when someone did take the time and I understood it, with this new information I did a total 180 and believed climate change was both real and a serious problem. I'm from conservative country in Europe, and when I started watching TV shows like Gossip Girl I was like 10. It struck me that people could be attracted to the same gender. I thought it was straight up fiction like vampires. And here I am 10 years later, being gay as frick. When I was younger, 12/13, I put deodorant on my face. Don't remember why, but it had to have been for some reason I thought was good, and my friend told me not to because her dad got deodorant in his eye and almost went blind. I thought she was lying about it, so once when her mom drove us someplace I brought it up and her mom confirmed the story. Still don't know if it's actually true, but I believe the mom when she said it. When I was younger I thought being a police officer meant you could break the law. Then I got older and realized that wasn't true. Then I got even older and realized it was true. I thought my parents were being cheap because I didn't like the food. Wanted fries and nuggets. As I grew up, not only I grew up loving the same food, the food was freaking expensive. You left some info out. The way rendezvous is pronounced. I always said rendezvous and my dad would say it the right way and I thought he was just being funny. I thought that abusive relationships were over dramatized since I used to believe that there was good in everyone and you just had to work past the bad to get to it. Boy was I wrong. Since I was a teenager, I loved to sleep real late and then wake up at noon. My mom used to scold me that it's wrong and that I should sleep early before midnight and wake up early. I tell her that it's alright because I get the same hours of sleep, just on a different time. Then she'll tell me that it's different. It's better sleeping at night than sleeping in the morning. She doesn't have an explanation why. I never believed her and I think that she's just traditional. Now I know better. It really is better to sleep before midnight since we experience deeper sleep during those times. I think it has to do with REM. I'm sorry mom for not believing in you. That divorce is okay, and doesn't mean that you have failed as a human being. I blame my religious upbringing for keeping me trapped in some bad patterns of thought for far too long after I became atheist. Sometimes I still have a problem saying I'm divorced. This might be too real deep, but none of my family pets have ever died, except for a dog we had when I was a baby, and all of my cats are over 10 years old, and my dog is about 7. I'm just waiting for the day where I come home and I see a dead cat. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.